Welcome back to a Hope for a Cure podcast. In this segment, the conversation becomes a little more personal for me. While we usually interview families who are impacted by pediatric cancer, this time I'm sitting down with my daughter and my son-in-law. For the purpose of this conversation, we approached it as a host-style interview so we could focus on sharing their story with you. Here is episode 4, part 2, Through the Eyes of His Parents, the legacy of Ahmad, Captain Poodaman Butler, the life that sparked a movement. So, Duane and Cierra, I do know the answer to this, but I'm asking you this for our audience. And any question that we ask, if you guys don't feel comfortable answering, you can say pass.
Okay.
What was Ahmad's diagnosis, if you're comfortable?
He had a ependymoma, and that is cancer in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
They had different types of cancer in the brain, but his was in a certain part. I forget which part it was, but I believe in the front.
Okay.
But it was called a ependymoma.
Okay. So, what does grief look like for you today, Duane?
Grief can look like a lot of things. I was dealing with my grief a lot by working, overloading myself with a lot of work and staying busy and just try not to have too much time to think about things that I couldn't control, besides just being there and trying to be happy and smile through it. No, all of that is grief,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. So, did that work for you? Did it work for you to work and try to push it off?
I don't necessarily think it was a push off.
Mm-hmm.
I still had to be there because even when you're going through these things, the bills keep coming. And
Right.
it's not a program that still pay the bills and allow you time to just be there. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
A lot of things go off the previous years and it's not showing the years that, you know what I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
affected by what you're going through. So we couldn't get any SSI or any
Mm-hmm.
type of help like that. So no,
Mm-hmm.
it was actually a necessity. And that's rough also when you're going through that with your family, that you still got to do that. It just adds to the stress.
Mm.
But, yeah.
Cierra, what about you? What does grief look like for you today?
To me, grief doesn't have a face. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have a look.
Mm-hmm.
I can be smiling 1 minute and then a certain smell,
Mm-hmm.
a certain song, a certain memory will pop up, and I feel like I can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it's like I feel like that, but I don't want no sympathy. I don't want nobody else to cry and feel the way that I'm feeling. So grief is just like I want to hide it, but at the same time, I want to be able to talk about it without making others feel bad. So I feel like when I'm grieving, it just depends on the time of day, time of year.
Mm-hmm.
I never know what it looks like. It has no face.
And for everyone that's at home listening, does grief have a time period?
There is no time period. I feel like I will mourn my son until the day that I die. I don't care if he was 50 years old. I don't care if he was 1 year old. There is no time period. And, it's very selfish to tell a grieving person, period, that you need to get over it. Because you have memories with that person. So, there is absolutely no time period. And, for anybody out there, if you know somebody that's grieving, they don't want to hear you're so strong. You don't want to hear you so strong.
Right.
I do understand that a lot of people don't know what to say. So, I'm very mindful of that, but there is no time period. Sometimes I'll feel like, it's been the amount of years that it has been. Sometimes I feel like it was 5 minutes ago that this happened. So there's absolutely no time period. And for the people out there that are grieving, listen, I'm sending warm hugs and love your way. That's my favorite thing to say, because I feel like that's what I would want. Send me some warm hugs and love. That's the best thing you could say to me.
That's great advice, and thank you for sharing that with everyone. So, how do you guys keep Ahmad present in your home?
We talk about him a lot.
So we always celebrate his birthday.
Celebrate his birthday.
How do you guys do that?
We always have a cake. We always have to have a cake for him. We always have to sing happy birthday and have like a little gathering, just even if it's just us. Outside of the Ahmad Butler Foundation, having something for him every year that actually helps a lot. We always try to make sure we do a cake and ice cream, because all I can picture Ahmad is saying, "Mom, where's my cake? Where's my cake at?" So we try to do that, and all the family, even though the kids are getting older and they have their own life, we try to make sure we're always together on his birthday, May 25th. Just to at least say happy birthday. Sometimes we might wear gray or blue or yellow, that represents pediatric brain cancer. Pediatric cancer. Gray represents brain cancer. And blue is his favorite color. So sometimes I might get my nose painted blue. Huda blue.
Huda blue.
Or we do little things like that just to keep his name alive. And still to this day, we still tell little stories. Like, we might hear a song on the radio and be like, "Oh, that was my song. Remember that time?" And we still just try to talk about him. We leave a safe space. We never tell the kids, "Oh, don't talk about him." No, because he was here.
Right.
That was your brother too.
Right.
Whatever you need to say, I don't care if you see me crying. Talk about him. It's okay.
How are his older brother and sister, Ahmad and Ashay? How are they, and how did this affect them?
It was hard. They both took it different. Ashay was a big sister. She was the type who didn't like to talk about him. She didn't want nobody talking about him. We had to let her know, like, you can't not talk about him. We're going to talk about him. Ahmad was more so withdrawn. He got quiet. He was always a talker, withdrawn, because him and Ahmad shared the same room. They were more than brothers. They were really best friends. Ahmad, he formed a shell around himself, and he took it hard. He didn't know how to explain himself. He didn't know how to explain his emotions. Still to this day, he has problems with, explaining his emotions and communicating with people, even being around people. So it was very hard for them, but they both took it different. They both handled it different. We still working on Shad.
So, Duane, what advice would you give to parents who have children? We call them super siblings of a child that has cancer or a child that has been lost to cancer.
You said a child that lost. You said
What advice would you give to parents who have
Mhm.
other children
Mhm.
on how they could cope, to how to help them cope with a loss like that?
I should say to keep their memories alive. Gotta. I appreciated that. That was. I know that helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think it would help the kids. There's no reason
Mm-hmm.
to act like they sibling never existed because they're not here no more.
Right.
It always helps to talk about the stories. You know what I mean? Keep the
Mm-hmm.
memories alive.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. All of that is a positive thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
positive.
Giving them an outlet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's no reason to have something to talk about your sibling you can't talk about it.
Right.
Because it makes somebody else upset. And
Right.
if it works for you just gotta do it.
So, Cierra, that same question goes to you. What advice would you give parents to help their grieving child, the siblings who are grieving? That was great advice, Duane. Thank you.
Allow the kids to have some sort of outlet.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, try to take, even if it's once a month, try to take time with those siblings, do an activity with them,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's like lighting lanterns or, drawing pictures, and dedicate it to their sibling.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people don't understand that kids are resilient and they are going through the exact same thing. They're holding on to every emotion that they're seeing, and a lot of them will act like they're not listening, but most of the time the kids are listening to everything that's going on, and they know more than what we told them, and they just need an outlet. So I would just tell the parents, give those kids an outlet, even if you got to put on, a favorite song, and just be like, okay, y'all, it's dance time. We just gonna, enjoy this time and dance like the sibling danced, or dance like he was here, or just give them some sort of outlet, because if they don't have that outlet, they just, I don't know, they need an outlet of some
You're right.
sort.
You're right. Kids need to know how to grieve, and they don't know how to. So yes, both of you. That was great advice for both of you. Now, I want to take you guys back to the day at the hospital when they gave you the news that Ahmad didn't have long. Are you guys comfortable with talking about that?
Yes, they didn't tell me, I told them.
Mhm.
I remember I went to relieve Fats
Mhm.
from the hospital, and I think it was around Halloween.
Who's Fats?
Fats is my husband, Duane.
Okay, thank you.
I went to relieve I went to relieve Fats from the hospital, and I think he was in denial a little bit,
Mhm.
because when I called him, I'm like, how's Ahmad? He's like, oh, he okay. And I'm like, okay. But when I got to the hospital, he wasn't talking right. Like, he
Mhm.
was talking very weird. And I'm like, Fats, you say he was okay. He was like, well, he's talking a little different, but he'll be okay. And I'm like, I got the doctor. I said, what's wrong with my son? And they was like, oh, well. And I'm like, oh, well, what? When I was just here, he wasn't talking like this.
Mhm.
Something's not right. So at that point in time, I knew he was going downhill. I
Mhm.
knew, because he was struggling to talk, to say words, and he would say words and I couldn't understand him.
Mhm.
And no matter if he had surgery, chemo, radiation, I always could understand him.
Mhm.
When I walked into the room, it was like he was struggling to breathe. I had to step out the room because, again, I never liked him to see my emotions. I stepped outside the room and I just started making phone calls immediately. I called my mom. I'm just like, Mom, you gotta get to the hospital. Something not right. He's not gonna make it.
Mhm.
And I felt like the doctors tried to sugarcoat a lot of things to me.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'm like, stop sugarcoating stuff. I need to know what's going on because he was never like this. At this point, he had lost movement in his legs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it had traveled to his spine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, my baby can't talk to me, and I don't understand what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a lot of regrets about a lot of those times. I wish I would have stayed in the room and talked to him more.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I might have been in a little bit of denial too.
Mm-hmm.
But I called everybody. From that point on, it went very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they sent him home, and I couldn't ride with him. And I told Feds, I was like, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll ride behind him. I can't do it because I'm not going to be able to hide my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see him going through that. Give him medicine. Give him whatever if you need to give him the whole container. Give him medicine now. I couldn't. I felt like I was losing my mind. I followed behind the ambulance, and the whole time I felt like I was losing my mind because I did not think he was going to make it on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
He proved us all wrong. He made it, they was able to set him up comfortably
Mm-hmm.
in my mom's place. He had his bed, he was in his pajamas, he had his blanket, he had his cheetah, he loved cheetah. And he was able to go at home because he loved grandma house. That's all he said. I love grandma house.
Mm-hmm.
Was able to go at home. So many people visit him. And I told everybody, when y'all go in that room, y'all better fix your faces. Don't y'all let my baby see y'all like that because he don't know what's going on right now. We're having a party for him. And if y'all not here to celebrate him, get out. It was like a movie. I never thought that I would lose a kid. I never saw that on my bingo cards. I never ever thought that I would lose a kid. So me sitting there I called so many people. I feel like that was a way for me to just like when I was posting stuff up, videos and all this stuff up on Facebook and Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
that was just a way for me to just like hide my emotions a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
it's tough.
I'm sorry. Duane, what was that last day about you like for you?
Um, yeah, I definitely know. I think for the up and about to like the last 2 days when he was in St. Christopher, I was in extreme amount of denial. Like I would listen to the doctors talk. This when I do the surgeries on him, this give him a better quality of life until it was always basically while he here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they were saying it, it wasn't clicking for me. Like I heard it, but I didn't feel like we had to go through all of this just to still lose. You know what I mean? Like I thought, like I don't know, like we fighting for something. You know understand what I'm saying? Like I
Mm-hmm.
know we ain't fighting just for nothing. So
Right.
I'm not believing what the doctor's talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
I was in denial until I just when it was closer to the end, like when he stopped walking and he couldn't hold his bowels anymore, any of that. So that was just like man, this for real. Like everything he was talking about, like coming true. Like the way I was seeing it,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't happening. That's why when everybody would ask how Ahmad was doing, I'd be like, "Oh, Ahmad doing good." Like
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see him doing better than the decline. I didn't. I ignored the decline because the decline would have made me decline also. So I kind of I overlooked the bad things. But that last day,
Cierra, tell us about.
it's kind of hard for me to explain that last day. That last day was
Blur.
Yeah, it was a blur, but kind of like a dream and a nightmare because like to see him do all that suffering and still just had high spirits all the time, and you know that the chemo making him sick, making his hair thin up, go bald, he throwing up, you know what I mean? That part wasn't an improvement of a quality of life for me. Like it was like they was torturing my son. You know what I mean? Like them drugs I felt like was making them miserable. So it was like, damn, if he's not getting better, then he don't need to be suffering because the suffering like is don't nobody need to suffer.
Black fingernails.
Yeah, it was that part was miserable. That part was miserable. Yeah.
So, take us to his last moments.
To be completely honest, my girlfriend Denise had came over and she said, "Do you want to go to the bar and take a shot?" I said, "Yes, girl. I can't handle this right now." I went down the street, took a few shots, came back, sat there for a little bit, tried to process everything because I always ran from my emotions. Went into the bathroom because I felt sick. As I was in the bathroom, you know, going through what I was going through, it was a knock at the door. And I'm like, "Yes." And it was my mom. She said, "Cierra, he just took his last breath." And I lost it. I lost my mind. I just crawled in the bed and I just held him. And I didn't want to let go. I held him until he got cold. And after he got cold, I'm like, "He need more blankets. He's cold. Give him more blankets." I lost my mind. I felt like I lost the air that was in me. I felt like I lost everything. I felt like every time just stopped. I was mad at myself for going and getting a drink. I was mad at myself for all the regrets about everything that ever happened just went through my head. I kept on thinking, what could I have done better to make my son live? And I just got to hold him without him breathing funny. I kissed him. I held him. Until I couldn't hold him anymore. And if I had the energy, and I know this is bad, I would have fought whoever took me off of, because I didn't want to let go. You know, and my family, you know, they didn't want to let me see him get closed up. That's my one regret. I just wish I could have saw him. I'm like, you know, I already saw the worst part that happened. I want to finish the process. I just felt defeated.
One thing you weren't was defeated. I just want to share that with you. You both did an amazing job. So, first of all, I really want to thank you guys for being vulnerable. I want to thank you for sharing your story. And some people ask us why we go into so many details. Some people think it's too hard to watch. But we want people to see your story. We want people to know that the families who are fighting, they can't look away. And in saying that, I want to ask you both if you could speak to a parent who just heard the word, your child has cancer today, what would you say to them?
I would say this is the time to use your village. If you have a village, take advantage of it.
Mm.
I know when Ahmad was sick, I didn't want to take advantage of any. I had people, and I know it's some people that don't have people, but I didn't want to use my village. I wanted to be there. I wanted to do everything. Use your village. You are going to need all the strength that you have. Your child is going to need you. Use your village. If you don't have a village, it's a lot of people out here willing to help. Reach out to me. And if I'm able to, I'll help.
Mm.
Your village, you're going to need your village. So use your village.
Advice. Great advice. Duane, do you have any?
Yeah, I do. I would keep it short. I would just tell the parents to enjoy the time that you had with your kids, especially if they get that diagnosis. You honestly, you don't know which way it's gonna go. So ain't nothing more important than making the memories with them kids while they still here.
It's great advice. So when you see the Ahmad Butler Foundation founded in your son's honor, what goes through your heart and your mind?
It's a very warm feeling.
Mhm.
Knowing that we already been through the things that these families are going through right now. And we always had this thing where my cousin Naja had got these bracelets made with my grandma saying that no one fights alone. So knowing that we always had somebody with a mind and knowing that other families, sometimes they don't have that. Seeing these kids get out and telling them no one fights alone.
Mhm.
Seeing these families get out here, knowing that, it's under the Ahmad Butler Foundation. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I birthed a superstar.
You absolutely did. And the foundation in the very beginning, that was your idea before Captain Poodaman even said he wanted to help a lot of people. Tell us about that.
I just didn't want anybody to go through that alone. It's times where you can't get out the hospital and you need deodorant, toothbrushes, a book. You need things that you can't get. And I just wanted to be able to provide people with that, provide people with an outlet.
Mhm.
They did kiddie proms for us. Ahmad was never able to go on his prom.
Mhm.
So, them doing those proms and having those activities and what was it? What the Disney World? What was that?
Make a wish.
Make-A-Wish program. That
Mhm.
program alone,
Yeah.
he got to touch dolphins. Who
Mhm.
thought he would have got to touch dolphins and ride horses?
Mhm.
And give the kid the world. That was the
The foundation,
that's where we
they did
stayed at.
everything for him. Like he
Which
did so much
foundation
to
was that?
give kids the world.
Another great one.
They
Yeah.
did so much for our family
Mm.
that, with that little bit of time left, they created memories that we would have never been able to do by ourselves. They had wheelchairs waiting for him. We went to Disney World and they had wheelchairs waiting for him. He was very scared of roller coasters and rides, but they allowed us to go backstage and see how the ride was made and have fast passes so he's not standing in a hot line. He went straight to the front.
Mm.
On top of that, we all took pictures, and every day they gave all of our kids gifts.
Mm.
Every day they had parties, candy party, they had all types of things for our kids, and it just like it created so many memories that we would have never been able to do, let alone had the money to do, because we were going through everything we were going through with him. I'm very grateful.
Thank you for that. Duane, did you ever imagine your son's life would inspire something this impactful?
Tell you the truth, no, honestly, no. I ain't never had no doubt. I always thought Ahmad was special, and
He was.
especially with the plan that Cierra had, and you don't let nothing go to waste either. So you just took it and ran, and that was, I mean, you scored a touchdown, man. You know what I mean? It really took off. Like it's amazing for real. Like it's decent.
And helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cierra, so how does it feel knowing that your dream of having a nonprofit in your son's name, that it was realized and that his name represents hope for families across the country now?
I feel seen. I feel hurt. Very good feeling. Very good feeling. It's I can't even put it into words. My
So
favorite word is amazing. It's amazing.
Amazing.
great word, and so fitting. What do you think, Ahmad? What do you both think Ahmad would think about the movement that's growing in his name?
He knew he was a superhero. Like I knew it. I already knew it. I can't hear him now. Like I knew it. Captain Poodaman and Cheetah. He like, oh, they was gonna get it done every time. I don't think it was a better representation of him than Captain Poodaman and Cheetah, because Cheetah was his favorite. Cheetah was his homeboy. Everybody homeboy.
So before I turn it over to Jason with the last question, I want to thank you guys. And I do want to share with the audience that Cierra is my daughter and Duane is my son-in-law. And last week, I shared my story, which was part one. And this is the anchor. This is the end of the story. And I hope that you feeling heard, you both feeling heard, you both feeling seen. I hope that it was therapeutic.
Very much.
And I want to say that if there's anything that we didn't ask you guys, that if you'd like to say anything, you can add it now. And if you feel like you have said anything, then we could go on to the last part. But I don't want to miss the opportunity to allow you both to share everything you want to share.
I feel like when you see people grieving or going through stuff like this, the last thing they want is, I said this already, but the last thing they want is sympathy. You don't want sympathy. You don't want nobody to feel bad for you. You want people to understand you. It's times where, I want to talk about my son to other people and they start crying and I feel bad. So I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want nobody to feel bad. I want to tell his story, but I know it's a touching story. So I know people are going to feel bad, or sometimes I'll be in the middle of talking about it and people be like, you don't have to talk about it. No, I don't mind talking about my son. Even if I cry, I don't care if I can't breathe. I don't mind talking about him. So, you know, sometimes I want to be able to talk about him without other people feeling so bad. I also want people to know that, when kids go through chemo and stuff like that, you can't have other kids around them. So I
Mhm.
know a lot of people probably thought I was being rough on them. I wasn't. But when they're going through chemo, their white blood cell counts get very low. So any little
Mhm.
thing can make them sicker. So I just want you to know that, it's easier to visit people that have cancer when they're not going through chemo. Unless they absolutely say, come visit me while I'm in chemo,
Mhm.
it's easier to visit them when they're not going through chemo because they're very weak. And for the kids, they have to get out the bed to go
Mhm.
visit, to make their visits because they don't allow other kids on the floor. So they have a separate room, but it's very hard when you go to visit a kid that has cancer and they're going through chemo. It's very hard when you have to get your child out of the bed for that visit. And I know a lot of people wanted to support as much as they could, but a lot of people were coming while he was on chemo, and a lot of people were being turned down. But I just had to be selfish at that point. It was nothing against anybody. I just had to be extremely selfish because any little thing could have got him sick. And at the same time, he was sick, he was weak, and he didn't want to keep getting out the bed. He loved for people to visit him, but he was so sick and weak that sometimes we had to turn people away.
Mhm.
Your guys' story is really powerful, and I do appreciate both of you guys sharing it with all of us. And Ahmad means so much to me, and I know to so many others. On before we end, I just want to ask Duane, what do you wish, and even Sarah, if you can think about this as well, what do you wish everyone knew about battling pediatric cancer?
I guess try your best to prepare for the unexpected, because it's not like you don't know what you're gonna get.
Mhm.
You don't know.
I would say support is everything. From the comments, from the text messages, from support is everything. Because when I felt like I couldn't take any more, that support helped me get through a lot.
So, guys, Jason and I are going to come back on, but before we do, remove the spotlight. We want to make sure that the space that you share is full and that you were able to share everything that was on your heart. Are you guys okay? Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I think we said a lot.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Wow.
What a story. What a story. And a lot of times people say, and we hear this a lot. We hear that don't say I'm strong. What am I
Yeah.
supposed to do? And I think it's because you exemplify strength. The families who are fighting this, they exemplify strength. And because there is no instruction manual, not just for the parents, but also for your support system and for people that want to offer that support to you. So, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing your story. And we hope that we have provided a space that made you feel comfortable. And we know that your story, you telling your story, just by itself will make some family out there that is in the fight, that's battling for their child's life, make them feel like they're not alone. So we appreciate you joining the show. We say thank you.
Thank you, guys. Wow, that's I knew that. That was a very, very powerful story. I've heard your story now, and I hear Sierra and Dwayne's, and it is very powerful.
It sure was. You know, First of all, you did such an amazing job last week. And there was a part in there where I was really choked up and I had to snatch myself together to ask the question. And I lived through the story. And just seeing your child hurt like that. And there were some things that I didn't know that I learned. I didn't know the part about my grandkids. When Pooh came from the hospital, he was out of it. And I didn't know that Cierra, and I didn't know that guilt that she carried. I tell you, she did, her and Duane, they did the best that they could. They did an amazing job. So proud of them. They're still doing an amazing job. Whew.
And and when Sierra was telling the story, I know that you were having a tough time. But you even I saw mom coming in. It's okay. You did the best and you had to come in there. And so I know this segment was really hard. And I'm glad that we got to explain it to everybody, who Ahmad is, because Ahmad is so important to not only me, but to everybody. It's family to everybody, or he's family to everybody. And so, yeah, I do appreciate this. Keith, you, Sierra, Duane, I mean, it's powerful. It's very powerful and moving.
And you know what I love? I love that they brought in the other nonprofits that, when we talk about amazing nonprofits, I'm telling you guys, we're going to have some amazing nonprofits on this show. And Make-A-Wish Foundation. And what was the other one that they were talking about?
Uh,
Give Kids the World.
Give Kids the World, yes. Give Kids the World.
So these nonprofits, when Sierra was talking about everyone don't have a support system, she was right. Everyone doesn't have that blood family or that community, but the nonprofits fill that gap. And we are grateful for everyone, every last one of them. So
And
guys,
a lot of those non, I'm sorry, I was just saying that
yes,
a lot of those nonprofits, every one of them, because attention is not brought on pediatric cancer, a lot of them represent a mission of that gap,
yes,
and
they're
it's
filling
made
it.
it's made out of pain,
Yes,
but that's the support system that has now become, that pediatric cancer world support system, the nonprofits, but everybody is, sees the gaps that happen to them and they are giving
and
back
they're
into the
filling
other
them
families and they're
collectively.
filling them correct
Yes, yes,
collectively. Yes, and
yes.
it's amazing.
It is amazing. Guys, I hope you are enjoying this experience. I know we are so grateful for you all who are tuning in. And we've said this in a very first show, and I just want to reiterate it. If you have any suggestions, any ways that you think we can improve the show, we all are all ears. Send us the email,
Hmm.
put it in the comments. However you get it get it to us, please, because our goal is to grow together. So thank you again for tuning into the show. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.
And guys, collectively, we all can do more than hope for a cure.
Yes, we can. Later, Gators.
And as always, we're going to give the last word to the superhero.